All right, let's dive into one of the most exciting and sometimes tricky topics in formulation, oleogels. These things are just amazing. They're super versatile, a blast to make, and they feel incredible on the skin. But getting them right can be a bit of a challenge. So today, we are going to unlock the secrets to creating perfectly stable oleogels every single time. Have you ever used one of those cleansers that starts out as this beautiful, silky gel, and then you add a little water and bam, it magically turns into this gentle cleansing milk that just rinses right off? If you have, then you've already experienced the magic of an oleogel. It's that incredible transformation that just makes them so special. So what exactly is an oleogel? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like, a gel that's based on oil. Unlike your typical water-based gels, these have this really rich, nourishing feel. And while you can totally make leave-on balms with them, their real claim to fame, their star power, is in those rinse-off products, all thanks to that awesome oil-to-milk switch. So why are formulators totally obsessed with them? Well, for starters, they're so versatile, you can make cleansers, masks, balms, you name it. They're also a dream for dry and sensitive skin because they're way less disruptive to the skin's natural barrier. And you know what? They are just so satisfying to make. It's a really rewarding process. So here's our game plan. We've just touched on the magic. Next, we're going to dig into the 5 keys to stability. This is the really important stuff. Then we'll get into perfecting your formula, and finally, we'll talk about getting it from your lab bench to the bathroom shelf. Okay, let's get into the heart of it all, the 5 keys to stability. If you can master these, you'll be well on your way to creating a perfect oleogel. And here they are, the big 5. We're going to walk through each one, keeping it simple, really getting to know your gelling agent, why patience is everything, adding ingredients one at a time, and finally, testing for stability. First up, and this one's a biggie, keep it simple. Seriously, your very first oleogel should have just 2 ingredients, 1 gelling agent and 1 oil. That's it. Why? Because the technique is what you need to master. You have to get the feel for the process before you start adding all the bells and whistles. Key number 2 is all about getting to know your gelling agent. Now, unlike emulsifiers where you have tons of options, the world of oleogelling agents is a lot smaller, and each one has its own little quirks and personality. Some need extra stabilizers, others don't. A really great one to start with, by the way, is Sucragel AFBO. It's pretty versatile and a bit more forgiving for beginners. This brings us to our 3rd key, and it might just be the most important one of all. You can't rush this process. As our source material beautifully puts it, oleogels really are a labor of love. The entire structure of your gel, that beautiful thick texture, it's all formed as you add the oil to the gelling agent. If you dump it in too fast, the structure just breaks. It's gone. Think of it like making a perfect risotto. You can't just pour all the broth in at once, right? You add it little by little, letting it get fully absorbed before adding more. It is the exact same idea here. Add your oil way slower than you think you need to. All right, number 4. This one is going to save you a massive headache later on. Add your ingredients one at a time. Just imagine your beautiful oleogel separates. If you only used 1 oil, well, you know exactly what the problem is. But what if you used 10 different oils and a bunch of extracts? You have absolutely no idea what caused the failure. So make a successful base first, then introduce new things one by one in different batches. It's the only way to troubleshoot effectively. And our final key, you've got to stability test your formula. Once you have a batch you're really happy with, you have to put it through its paces. It's the only way to know for sure that your creation is going to hold up and not turn into a separated, oily mess in a few weeks. So you've followed the keys, you've made a batch, and it looks great. Awesome. But now what? Let's talk about how to take that successful experiment and turn it into a truly stable product. So how long do you need to test it for? Well, for a homemade formula you're making for yourself, 2 weeks is a really good starting point. The good news with oleogels is that if they're going to fail, they usually do it pretty fast. So after 2 weeks, you'll have a pretty solid idea of how stable it is. And you don't need a fancy lab for this either. The best thing to do is just mimic real life. Keep 1 sample on your desk at room temp, put another one in your steamy bathroom, and maybe set a 3rd one on a sunny windowsill. This kind of stress test will show you any weak spots in your formula, and it'll show them to you fast. Okay, and here is a pro tip that will save you so much money and frustration. Please do not, I repeat, do not add your expensive, fancy, precious extracts until you have completely nailed the basic 2-ingredient formula. Master the technique first, get that rock solid. Then you can start enhancing it and adding all the fun stuff. All right, you've done it. You have a stable, beautiful oleogel. But we're not quite at the finish line. How you package and use your product is actually just as important as how you made it. See, every superhero has a weakness, right? Well, your Oleogel's kryptonite is humidity. Water is its mortal enemy. A lot of these gelling agents are so sensitive that even the steam from your shower can make the top layer of the product emulsify, turning it all milky before you've even touched it. And that's exactly why packaging is everything. An airtight pump is the absolute best choice. It keeps air and humidity out, and it's just way more hygienic. An open jar? That's risky. Every time you open it in that steamy bathroom, you're letting in its kryptonite. Now, if you have to use a jar, please always use a clean, dry spatula. Never, ever use wet fingers. So let's just pull this all together with a quick success checklist. First, the technique. Start simple and be patient to build that stable gel. Second, formulation. Add ingredients one by one so you can troubleshoot easily. Third, testing. Give it a good 2 weeks to make sure it's stable. And finally, packaging. Protect your hard work with an airtight container. So there you have it. Those are the core secrets to creating stable, absolutely beautiful oleogels. They really are a joy to formulate once you get the hang of the process. So now that you have the keys to success, the only real question is, what amazing thing are you going to create?